All right, welcome in. This is Ricky's Mailbag. We take your questions about the Phillies and we try to answer them to the best of our ability here. I want you to like and subscribe over here. You can catch myself, Savannah Kelleher, Bill Colarulo on Unfiltered 2 to 6, Monday through Friday, and on 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. I'm here with Dylan McKinnon. Dylan's going to kick it off. Here we go.
Okay, our first question is from Josh. He asks, what improvements from last year's NLDS do the Phils need to make in order to go further this year?
Hit the baseball, pitch the baseball. I think that would work in the first place. It's hard to make an improvement from a playoff series to a playoff series. I think the improvements are made throughout the season. The Phillies have built a team. I think that's something that the team aspect may have been missing last year. And for sure, the one thing that everybody's going to be watching, because when you think about that Mets series, the one thing that really sticks out to me is guys that were dealing during the season. Matt Strom, Estevez, and Hoffman. Those guys were throwing the ball well going into the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, it was just implosion left and right out of the bullpen. So I think the bullpen's got to be stronger. You do have Duran at the back end of the bullpen. I think that helps out the situation. And I think the Phillies have confidence in him to kind of take a big playoff step. I think the other thing is when you when you look at the lineup, the one thing about the Phillies now, they're very deep. It's not just like 1 through 4 guys. I think what you have is 1 through 9 is a tough out. And when you have that, you play as a team. Because that means if your 6 through 9 hitters are, let's say they're 3 for 9, 3 for 10 in the game, that's turning over the lineup. And you want those bottom hitters to have some good quality at-bats, kind of try to waste the starting pitchers a little bit and get into the Dodgers bullpen. I think that's going to be big.
Okay, Joey provides a very specific situation, but it's the seventh inning. Luzardo is at 90 pitches. Runners on first and second, no one out. Ohtani and then Betts up. Who do you go to out of the pen, or you let Jesus stay in?
7th inning, I'm going to let Luzardo probably pitch to Ohtani. Then I'm going to bring in David Robertson off after that. The one thing I'm going to try to literally stay away from in this playoff series is bringing Orion Kerkering in with runners on base. He's struggled a lot this year coming in those situations, and it's not just a small sample size. So the one thing I would definitely do is stay away from Orion Kerkering. The other thing you could do is it depends on who's hitting actually behind Betts. I think it would be Teoscar. So you want a righty coming in, and it's not going to be Duran. That's too early. I think it's a situation in which David Robertson has to come in. They're paying him money for a reason to come in these type of situations and get the job done. So I think it wouldn't be Matt Strom unless you want him to go in there and face a lefty and 2 righties. I don't think that's happening. That's not the way Rob really manages the game. I think in that situation, it would definitely be either you let Luzardo go or Luzardo go for one more hitter and then you go to your bullpen.
Yeah, which pitching staff has the advantage, the Phillies or the Dodgers?
I think it's a wash starting rotation-wise. You have Christopher Sanchez and Ohtani going. Both of them are really good pitchers. Ohtani threw 5 no-hit innings against the Phillies last time they saw him. Game 2 would be most likely Snell and probably Ranger. I think that's a wash too. So where does everything kind of come into play? It comes into the bullpen. The Phillies absolutely destroyed the Dodgers bullpen when they played them in LA a couple weeks back. Number one, it's a mental thing. You have the edge mentally against their bullpen. Their bullpen's coming into those games knowing that you've already whitewashed them when you're out at Dodger Stadium. So I think that's going to play a little bit into the Phillies' hands. So I guess staff-wise, you even go to the closers. What, Blake Trinan? That guy's been struggling for 2 months. I have a hard time believing that he's going to be a force for that Dodgers team right now. And I do believe that Duran could be a force. He could be one of those guys that comes into a game and it's lights out, because that's what you really want to see, especially late in the ball game. I think it also helps the Phillies that they could use these guys as much as they want, because you go game 1, you have a day off. Game 2, you have a day off. Then there's basically 2 games in a row for 3 and 4, and then you have another day off. So I think the days off actually play well into the Phillies' hands out in the bullpen, because you won't worry about tiring guys out or usage out there. So rotation-wise, I got to give the check mark to the Phillies.
Mike asks, who should start game 2, Luzardo or Ranger?
Yeah, here's the reason. I just set up the schedule for you. In this type of situation, Christopher Sanchez would be able to go game 1 and game 4 with his normal day off. Whoever pitches in game 2 would have to go into game 5. Is that concerning if it's Luzardo? Well, I don't know. I mean, where is Luzardo right now? Sometimes you get Jekyll and Hyde. Maybe you get 2 different ones of him. I think Ranger Suarez is the guy that has no fear, doesn't care about who he's facing. And quite frankly, I think he's a guy I would trust a little bit more than I would Luzardo. So I would go Sanchez, I would go Ranger, Luzardo, and then Sanchez, Ranger. I just don't understand why you would look at this series and not want Ranger Suarez going twice. So, in my opinion, I think Ranger gives you the best chance to win, especially if there's a game 5.
Okay, Robert asked, will they be impatient and swing at every low and outside or low and inside pitch again?
It's funny because I think this is a key to the game that you just brought up, because I just brought up the points about the Dodgers bullpen, because the Phillies have a lot of confidence against the Dodgers bullpen. I would hope they would be a little bit more patient at the plate. And, okay, start zoning baseballs. Take your area, look for a pitch in that area, and that's it. If you don't get it in that area, hey, take some pitches, take some balls, make sure you work that pitch count up. If the Phillies are doing that and you get these pitchers out of there within 5 or 6 innings, you're in pretty good shape, because then the Dodgers have to go to that bullpen. I don't know if they could handle a bullpen series, to be completely honest with you. I think that's the key to beating this team. So I'm hopeful, and I say I'm hopeful because I'm not real positive about it, that the Phillies will be a little bit more disciplined at the plate. We've seen in the past, we've seen in the past that when it comes to playoffs, things kind of fall apart and get a little bit haywire, because, they start all being like a little bit like Nick Castellanos, expanding the zone. You can't do that. You have to make the pitchers come to you.
Okay, and then final question. This one's from Jeff. And he goes on a bit, but he asked, will Bryce produce any meaningful runs unlike he's done throughout the regular season? We don't need home runs from him only when we're up 4+ runs. We need a difference maker for this upcoming series versus the Dodgers. It can't just be Schwarber and Turner.
I think Bryce Harper steps up. I think he's one of those guys that has stepped up every time they're in the playoffs. I mean, he's one of those guys that you need. And I think that comment is correct. You need him to be a force on this team in the playoffs. You need him to be one of the guys stepping up. And you're absolutely right. 2 guys aren't going to make a difference in a playoffs. You need a lot more going on offensively. Yeah, Bryce Harper has had a weird year. I mean, he still almost got to 30 home runs, and people were like, where is his power? Where is his power? I just think, for Bryce, it's one of those things where he may be the hungriest one on this team. You think about his statistics, all those numbers, all those home runs, the playoff series that he's been in, the big-time hits he's had in playoffs. That's a confidence thing. And, there's no doubt that he brings confidence to the table. But the one thing you do need is him to step up at big times. And, that's what he's paid for. That's why he's here. He's here to have that big moment. He's here to win the ring. And this is their best opportunity. And I will say he has been good in the playoffs, so I expect the same this season from him. I don't expect him to kind of fall apart and kind of coddle under the pressure. I expect him to step up when the bright lights, and that's the type of player he is. So, yeah, I think in every thought process about Bryce Harper, you need to have him step up in a series against a team like the Dodgers, because let's face it, the Dodgers have some players over there. They have superstars on their team too. And if the superstars aren't going, the team's not going to click. And I agree. You need more than 2 guys to go. You need the whole offense to kind of go at once. We haven't seen that in a playoff series in a long time for the Phillies. I think this may be the time. This might be the place. And I think Bryce Harper is going to be one of the leaders of the pack. this year. So take that. All right, this has been Ricky's Mailbag. Phillies Mailbag, same thing. Want you to like and subscribe over here. Want you to catch myself, Bill Colarulo, Silvana Kelleher, and sometimes Andrew DiCecco on Unfiltered, 2 to 6, Monday through Friday. We are on 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. Thanks for watching Unfiltered on YouTube. You could like and subscribe down here. You could also see our other shows over here. Go ahead and watch them all. We love when you watch. The one thing, hey, you could also catch us on 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. See you there.